저는 사실
This could turn into a long story, but I didn't really want to become a singer when I was young. I found my dream as I was preparing for something else. I don't know about Lietwook, but I know that other members started as early as 13 years old, and some of them auditioned from small towns to become singers.
And
Lietwook?
From my mother's womb.
That's when he started dancing around.
You were born to sing?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Who were your idols while you were growing up?
When I was really young, there was a group that toured Korea called New Kids on the Block. They were really cool. And just like a lot of other people who aspire to become singers, I looked up to Michael Jackson.
Like Lietwook, I loved watching Michael Jackson perform. And this might sound old, but I also liked singers like Tony Bennett and Elvis Presley.
프레슬리를 굉장히 좋아했었습니다. 네.
Lietwook, you're 27 years old. You are the leader, if you like, of the band. You're a singer, actor, radio show host. Tell us about the transformation that you have undergone from being the boy next door to being Lietwook, the star that you are.
I was just a normal guy and used to go to school just like everyone else. I was cast by chance, and that's how my life changed in just one moment, just like that. I spent 5 years training at SM Entertainment and experienced a lot of anxiety during that time, wondering if I would actually be able to become a professional entertainer. Also, there is a military service that all Korean men have to undergo that presented some difficulties. Despite all that, I became a Super Junior member after getting through some rough patches, and with it came a lot of fame. While I continue my singing career, I'd also like to become a good show host. Sometimes my life feels like a dream. Sitting here now, doing this interview, it feels like a dream.
Like most of our band members, I went through the same experience as Lietwook. It feels like all of this happened overnight, and we are all of a sudden receiving all of this attention and love from people. So I'm very thankful for this. I dream of moving forward as an actor while I continue to be a good singer. And in the future, I would like to become a missionary.
나중에 꼭 선교하는 게 제 꿈입니다. 네.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about that.
I don't have any specific plans yet, but my father wants to do the same thing, and he does have specific plans. I'd like to go to countries where I have received much love and personally return all of that love.
You are hugely popular here in South Korea. I gather that when you are on the streets, you are mobbed by your fans. How do you deal with that fame?
Sometimes the eyes surrounding me are a bit of a burden, and there are times when I want to be myself. But I think all of that is a sign of their interest towards us, so I'm really happy. In the past, I used to run away from my fans, but these days, I just chat with them, and it seems to make things more comfortable that way.
Because we started at such a young age, it may sound odd to say this, but it feels like we are aging with our fans. So when we meet them, it's more like we're checking up on how they're doing, and we'll say things like, "How are your parents? Have you eaten?" and things like that, and it's great.
I guess the downside of fame is the pressure that it places on your personal lives. How hard is it to have a relationship?
There are not that many restrictions on our relationships. It may seem like it because we're public figures that our private lives are managed in a sense, but it's probably quite the opposite. If I were to say I like someone, then I'll be able to get support and advice from our management company.
Are either of you in relationships?
No.
No comment 할게요.
So that means Lietwook, yes. Busted. Coming up, how the boys from Super Junior are using their fame to raise awareness for a worthy cause.
인신매매가 굉장히 극성을 부리고 있다고 합니다. 그래서 저희가 동남아시아, 또 세계 평화, 또 인신매매 예방의 중요성을 위해서
Xong thì em được đứa bạn làm cùng làm. Một người bạn đấy với cả một người bạn trai của bạn đấy, người đi và bán cây Trung Quốc.
없었던 일을 한 것 같아서 너무나 값진 시간이었던 것 같고요. 제가 나중에 또 베트남에 와서 또 이런 좋은 일을 더 많이 했으면 좋겠고 NTV에서도 이런 일이 생기면 많이 불러주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
너무 재밌었어요.
Earlier this year, you appeared on MTV and campaigned against human trafficking. It's such a worthy and noble cause. Why did you throw your support behind this?
We went to Vietnam to participate in that event and help out there. I heard that in Korea, human trafficking was bad back in the 70s, and it caused a lot of pain for people and their families, and it was a big social problem. We came across it when we were thinking about what help we could offer people while we still had a bit of fame and power. That's why we went over to Vietnam to offer our support, and we had a good time over there.
There are so many celebrities and pop stars out there who don't use their fame and notoriety for a good cause. So do you feel a moral responsibility to raise awareness and promote these sorts of things?
When we chat or have meetings, a lot of times what we talk about is how we can use our influence, while we have it, to have a positive effect on people in the world. We believe that we can change the world and use our influence to create changes. So we do try to offer help to people in countries that are struggling or others that are in difficult situations.
Lيtوk, you were involved in a car accident back in 2007. You were one of 4 members in the car with 2 of your managers. You were quite seriously injured. You had to receive 170 stitches. Can you tell me about the accident, the recovery, and whether you thought that was the end of your career?
I had a very hard time back then. It was just when we had started to get really popular, and I thought, is it all over already? I was really depressed. Sometimes I'd cry when I was alone in my hospital room. But I found it pretty easy to get back to work, thanks to the other members who carried on performing. That's probably what brought me so far.
Where did you receive your stitches?
I had about 10 stitches above my right eye and about 150 around my waist. It was the first time I'd ever been in a serious accident. I do remember though, right before the crash, I thought to myself, I have to keep performing. I want to keep living. That particular thought was so strong. I also remember praying at that very moment. And I'm okay now.
Now, the internet is huge here in South Korea, and I presume it's a very powerful tool that you both use, social media, Twitter, Facebook, to communicate with your fans. Tell us about the power of the internet with your fans.
A lot of people tend to believe that we don't really have a life and are in some sort of cage, so we use social media a lot to show people slices of our personal life.
We don't really have much opportunity to communicate with our fans across Asia, since we only do a tour around the region once every 6 months or so. So to keep up with the conversation with our fans, it's great to use outlets like Twitter. By uploading messages there, our fans can see how we're doing, and we can also see how they're doing.
At the other end of the spectrum are these anti-fans. Cyberbullying is a big problem in South Korea, I believe, and there have been some extreme cases where people who've been the target of hate campaigns have actually gone and committed suicide. How do you deal with these anti-fans?
In terms of anti-comments, I don't think it's all that bad. I see it as another form of interest in us. In the beginning, it was rough reading those comments, but after a while, I started to realize that they are, in a way, just a different type of fan showing interest. I'd like to say that I actually enjoy it. If I didn't and kept focusing on it, then it becomes too hard to control. Fans and anti-fans can coexist, and there are things we can learn from those anti-fans. There are times when they make me realize my faults, and I try to make improvements.
But does it ever get under your skin and make you upset?
가장 마음이 아플 때는
Of course it does. I'm only human. It's okay when it's about me. But when it becomes something about my family or the other members of the group, then it gets pretty hurtful. But now, I'm really enjoying it, to the extent in which I'll actually go up to the anti-sites and run a search on myself and see what they're saying.
In some ways, they are like a coach putting us through our paces. We are able to make improvements because of people like them, and we have no choice but to get better for that very reason.
악성 댓글이 너무 많으면
When there are too many anti-comments, we get online and counter them.
Not you. You. Do you think there will come a time when you'll go your own ways and the band will break up?
많은 아이돌 그룹이 한국의 아이돌
A lot of
그룹이
young groups in
5년을
Korea
넘기지
split up
못하고
without breaking the
해체하는
5-year
경우가
mark.
많거든요.
And usually this was because, as you just said, it was to go their own way. But for Super Junior, it was more like we all started while we were going our own ways.
각자의 길들이 어떻게 보면
So I don't think the expression break up really fits Super Junior. I expect the group to stay intact while we all do our own things, and I think the brand value of the group will continue to grow.
더 커질 거라고 예상이 됩니다.
Well, Leitوk and Wشيون, a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
No,
for
we
joining Talk
pleasure.
Asia.
Thank you so much.